What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into another episode 53 of the CTW podcast. I am your host, Rob Haytayan. Joined with me is my co-host, Ian Angelo, and we are very excited to bring to you guys yet another episode. We got a good one here, Ian, right? The preseason is done. The little 5-game practice games that we got to see. A lot of fun things we saw. We're going to talk about that today. The regular season is approaching in just 6 days. The Celtics will host Banner Night against the New York Knicks. Are you going to Banner Night?
I am going to Banner Night. I'm
You're
very excited for that.
going to be in the building.
Very excited to go. It's going to be insane.
I'm jealous. I can't make it. I can't make it a Banner Night, but it's
Damn.
going to be a great time. Make sure you're bringing that energy. Game 1 against the Knicks. It should be a great game too.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's going to be nuts. The building is going to be going absolutely insane.
Oh
Plus, it's
yeah.
the first time seeing the Knicks with Karl Anthony Towns, so that should be fun to see too.
It's going to be I feel like it's going to be a playoff atmosphere. So,
Oh
I'm
yeah, for
jealous.
sure,
Back in
for
the garden.
sure.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a time. All right, well let's just hop right into it, right? We might as well because again,
Guys, the Boston Celtics in the NBA season is officially back. And this year, we're super excited to have officially partnered with SeatGeek. If you don't know what SeatGeek is the best ticketing app out there. Now, SeatGeek has this unique and very, very reliable system that shows you how valuable your tickets are. They rank them from a scale of green, yellow, and red. Green being the best value to red being the worst value and to stay away from them. Along with that, guys, SeatGeek has the awesome feature of when you click on the ticket that you are interested in buying, they actually show you the view from the seat. Guys, for my entire life, every Celtics, NBA, concert, any event I have gone to, I have used SeatGeek, and I am very excited to say that we have officially partnered with them. Now, at checkout, guys, use code Celtics Weekly that's flashed up on the screen to get $20 off your first purchase using SeatGeek. Guys, it's the best time to be a Celtics fan, and there is also no other better time to go watch them in person. When you do that, guys, make sure to use SeatGeek. Thank you guys so much, and back to our scheduled program.
let's go over a preseason recap. Now, this is kind of great because I've gotten a chance to sit down on the post game show and get Justin's and Franco's and kind of everyone else opinions, but I haven't got to sit down and talk to you yet. So I'm very excited to hear what you have to say on the overall preseason recap. Now, before we dive into each and every player, what were your overall general thoughts on how the Celtics performed?
I mean, they basically dominated the entire preseason. Um, Kind of felt like business as usual. Yeah, they lost the last one to the Raptors, but like they still had a chance to win that game even with their main Celtics lineup that was out there. So honestly, I mean, I'm ready. I think they're ready for the season. That's all. That's the only takeaway I can give for it because it's just looking like business as usual.
They looked great. I mean, like you said, they were clicking on all cylinders. I love that saying business as usual because like that's what it felt like. They were kind of going in there with like it didn't feel like a preseason game for the Celtics. They were kind of playing with a lot of energy, especially that last game. Joe ran like an 8-man rotation for most of the game. Brown and Tatum were playing a lot. Um, really liked what I saw. Especially out of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, because I do feel like they're worth noting here in the preseason. Tatum's shot looks a lot better. And it looked phenomenal right through like 4.5 games. And then he had that just like 4 shot stretch in the third quarter of last night's game that he went like 0 for 4 and it just tanks his percentage. He was like, I want to say like 5 of 9. And then he just missed like the next 4 shots. But again, what
Yeah,
did
he
you
just
see out
like
of JT?
honestly, I mean, Tatum he hasn't looked more comfortable than I think he has this year.
Right.
Um, I think the jump shot being back is really helpful for him because we know he likes to take the jump shot, whether it is 3 pointers or it's a mid range shot. So I think the fact that the jump shot looks better and I assume it feels better
Right.
because you could tell there might have been something off with the way that everything was just completely, going downhill at the Olympics. So I think Tatum is back. I think he's ready to have a huge season this year. And they were talking about the 3-point shot on ESPN. Tim Bontemps was saying that like if Tatum's three balls back, then who in the NBA is going to stop them? I don't see anybody.
I agree. I mean, when his shots fallen, he goes from like, he's virtually unstoppable if you think about it. Like, especially with this new playmaking version of Jason Tatum we're seeing, it's like how do you stop this guy? Teams are like okay, or were okay last year in particular with him settling for shots. And now it's like if his shots falling at what was he shooting? I want to say he was shooting at a 39% clip this preseason. Even if he's shooting at like 36, 37, right? 39 would be generous. I would love that.
And
But
it was at 50 at halftime of the Raptors game. It was at 50% from three. And then obviously I think he just like kind of was just shot chuck in the third quarter. But
yeah.
I mean, he's completely, I don't know what, maybe it's a confidence thing. Maybe the shot was fine all along, and maybe it's just the confidence to shoot it now. Yeah. And just know that like you're Jason Tatum, and no matter what, even if the shot's not falling, you're still going to go out there and you're still going to dominate.
Well, I feel like the shot looks a lot more slowed down. Like when it's like catch and shoot, and even like off the dribble, right? Because like I just feel like if you go back and you watch, there's that weird hitch. You're right. It looked so uncomfortable when he was shooting the ball. It was just like didn't look natural. Did not look comfortable for like his back, or it just didn't look like good. And then he worked in the offseason. He came in and much more fluent. First of all, second of all, those like step back side steps he's taken, they're a lot smoother and slower, and I think that could benefit him. So again, it's like it's Jason Tatum. I'm not worried about him, even if his shot's not falling. He's the last guy. Him and Jaylen Brown are the last two guys on this team I'm ever going to be worried about. But it is worth noting the shot might be JT might just be back, fellas, and it's a scary sight if that man's back. How about his running man, Jaylen Brown? I feel like I didn't see much from him too different this preseason, but do you think there's anything worth noting, kind of checking in on Jaylen Brown?
Yeah, Jaylen Brown, I mean, I don't even think there's much to say when it came to Jaylen Brown this preseason. He was Jaylen Brown. He got to his spots. He knows his spots on the floor now. The thing with him, it feels like kind of like Tatum in the same way. Everything kind of feels like it's slowed down for Jaylen Brown, and he knows where to get his shot off, and he knows where his strengths lie. So he's able to go out there and just play his game and not have to worry about anything else. And granted, I mean, I can't name like any notable moments or any notable changes, but if consistency is the biggest upgrade for Jaylen Brown this season, then that's still huge.
I feel like he was going into the post a little bit more. Like he was getting his body on smaller guards.
Oh, he was for sure. He was not shooting a whole lot of threes, it felt like.
No, and that's good. Like in the preseason, I'd feel like, especially in Joe Mazzulla's offense, it's just, guns blazing, just let him fly. But I liked what I saw from I will say the free throw, a little disappointed in the free throw. I would have loved to see it a little bit better. But again, can't get too picky. He looked really good, and he's getting in the paint, which I think is a big positive.
Yeah, and like I don't really care about the free throws. I mean, like, yeah, is it annoying? But yeah, I guess. But like, I don't know. As long as it doesn't cost him a game in the playoffs, then I don't really care that much, to be honest.
And he was, I will say, despite his percentage, it felt. I'd love to know his clutch time free throw percentage, because it did feel like he made all the right, all the big time free throws. So, from JB and JT, I mean, we saw everything we expected. I think Tatum a little bit more, just because of how terrible that shot was in the playoff. But again, so now I kind of want to pivot here from the superstars to the bench, because there is a lot of stuff to talk about on the Celtics bench. Now, if you were to pick out the most impressive player this preseason from the C's and that bench squad, who do you think it is?
Oh, I think it's Luke Kornet, without a doubt. I think Luke Kornet absolutely he showed something that like I don't think we ever expected, and it was the fact that he looked like a capable NBA player. And like last season he played pretty good basketball. but everyone really knew him for like the funny post game interviews or the funny, reactions after hitting a shot or whatever. But no, it looked like he bulked up a lot,
Right.
which was crazy. And the fact that he fits so seamlessly with the rest of the starting lineup, I mean, if they need to give Al Horford a break this season, Luke Cornett being the starting center for the Celtics might not be that bad.
Well, something I have down in my notes, and I mean you have them too, right? We kind of share the same
Yeah.
notes. Is a lot of Luke Cornett, and like that is something
Love
that
Luke
like
Cornett now.
yeah, like expect to see a lot of Luke Cornett this year, and like I so agree. Now, my most impressive player is not Luke Cornett, but I will say he is up there for me. If not one, he's probably two, because you're so right. He showed like he looked so comfortable, and he looked like a very very serviceable starting big man in a phenomenal bench big man. And you could have told me that a year ago today, Ian, and I would have been like, haha, yeah, right.
Well, a year ago today, we were talking about how bad the center depth was for the Celtics and how like Luke Cornett was going to get cut for I don't even remember who, but it felt like
Yeah, I
it felt
know.
like Luke Cornett was on the chopping block at one point, and it kind of looked like he's revitalized his career. And we'll have to see if it plays out throughout the regular season. But I mean, from what we've seen so far through the preseason, he's kind of just fit everywhere. He's fit like a glove. He's been able to, be in the right spot at the right times when, the play is breaking down and he's able to just get it, get to the rim and get his shot off. So it's going to be huge for Luke Cornett if he's being able to do that
I mean,
consistently.
a year ago today, I bet you could find probably 3 post-game shows and 2 podcasts that consisted of us being like, Celtics bigs are a real problem. Like, what do? We need Andre Drummond, like something like that, right? Because like it was
Yeah,
it
God.
was such it was such a question mark. And I won't lie, I'll take it with my chest. I was not a Luke Cornett guy. But I will say he looks like an entirely new player this time around. And it's so weird because something Justin said last night on the post game show. It's like it's year 8 for Luke Cornett, but it feels like it's year like 2 because of just
Yeah.
like how he had to reinvent his game. He went from the stretch big in Chicago, in New York, and then he comes into Boston, and it's like, where does he fit? Like he's on the rotate. It's been a kind of like a long journey for him, and then here he is, in year 8, reinventing his game, and it just fits like a glove in Boston. And I don't think you could ask for anything more so far out of Luke. Now, I want to give you my most impressive player because I'm interested into what you have to hear or talk and say about Jordan Walsh. Now, here's
Huge.
why I didn't pick Luke, because I just saw what he did in the postseason. So I guess like he had a good postseason for me. So I guess I picked Walsh because this guy for me was such a question mark, right? It's like he averaged 9 points, 1.6, 9 points per game, 1.6 assists per game, 4 rebounds per game, and almost a steal and a block per game. And he shot 37% from behind the arc. So what are you thinking on Walsh? Because I think there's a real chance he's in the rotation this year.
I don't know. I mean, everybody knew coming in there wasn't a whole lot of spots in the Celtics rotation,
Right.
really for anybody. So honestly, the only thing people were fighting for was what O'Shea Brissett brought to them last season, which was like 10 or 12 minutes off the bench
Right.
for pretty much just being an energy guy and just kind of being out there because he need minutes. But I mean, Jordan Walsh absolutely took a leap this preseason, and Summer League looked terrible for him. Like
Right.
it
Yeah.
was not looking good at all during Summer League. And from then to now, he looks like a completely different player. He is super confident in his shot, and he's not afraid to take shots, which is something that was a real problem last year.
Right.
Even in garbage time when he came in, like he just didn't look like he wanted to shoot the ball. So shout out to Jordan Walsh for making all of these improvements. And if he is on the big league, if he is on the big roster, like the main roster this year, well, not main roster, the Boston
Yeah.
roster.
Unfortunate
If
sequence of
he's in
words.
the rotation this year, I think you have to talk about what an absolute insane find it was from Brad Stevens to get this guy in the second round last year.
Hear me out. Now, you might call me crazy here, but just hear me out for a second. I look at Jordan Walsh and I see a lot of rookie Jaylen Brown. because it's like JB, if you remember, like he came in, right? And he was like this super polished scorer, right? Like his moves and his finesse was all there, right? You could see it. It was
Oh
smooth,
yeah.
it was fluent, but like he couldn't finish it, right? He was just missing like the experience. And like you watch Walsh, geez, tongue twister, and it's a lot of the same stuff. It's like he's getting to the basket smoothly and he's working that post a little bit smoothly and he's getting to his shot. And it's like you're everything you look at, it's like this guy's got the tools to be a hell of a player in this league. And it's like, what better
Oh yeah.
time to let the kid get some burn than when all the pressure isn't on him, right? He gets to play freely. He gets, put him next to Tatum and Brown, and eyes aren't on him. It's nice, it's fluent. And I mean, look at a guy like Luke, right? The game has come so much easier to Luke Cornett now that he's playing alongside all these great players. I think if you throw Jordan Walsh in there, there's a real chance that he can make some noise. And I'll tell you what, Ian, it's an upgrade over O'Shea Brissett. I know we talked about it last night. It's an upgrade.
Yeah, I think see the problem with Brissett was just the fact that he couldn't shoot.
Right.
He was an offensive liability. His defense was really good, but it was hard to find minutes for him when his shot wasn't falling. But Jordan Walsh, I mean, if his shot is going to fall the way that it was in the preseason, and he looked pretty comfortable with the starters last night.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised because I mean, Sam Hauser didn't play at all, which I don't know if that was just coach's decision, but the fact that they put Jordan Walsh in there with the starters for a lot of the game, and they went on like a 19-0 run in the second quarter, and Jordan Walsh was a part of that.
Right.
And I don't know if he is actually going to be a legitimate rotation piece. I'm very excited because not only does he have the offensive potential, he's also a pretty good defender. And I was watching in Maine last year. He was hounding people when
Right.
he was in Maine. It was insane.
It feels like he's way too good now for Maine. It's like if you put him in Maine, he's just gonna feast.
It's kind of like what they had with Neemias Queta last year, where like he's
Right.
kind of too good for the Maine Celtics, but there's no room for him in the rotation with Boston.
Right. Right. I feel like Walsh's role with this team is like give us something when Hauser can't, right? It's kind of like, you're going to lean to Hauser this year, but sometimes, I mean, if you remember last, like sometimes there's games where his shot's not falling or he's just not there or he's not
Oh yeah,
giving you, right? He's not giving you
yeah.
matchup wise what you need. So it's like, I feel like in sometimes where you need a little bit more energy and a little bit more athleticism and a little bit more length out there, you can point and you go, all right, Walsh, you're playing 20 tonight. And I think he's more than capable of doing that. I feel like.
I think he is. I think he looks a lot more comfortable than he did last season.
Mhm.
And I think that's pretty much that comes with anything when you're a young player in the NBA. It can take time to actually, feel comfortable and, be around the rest of the team. And it honestly gave me a lot of encouragement when I was watching Jaylen Brown talk to him like out of the timeout and like, give him advice. He was talking to Tatum constantly. It like there's not too many better wing players in the NBA that you can have as like kind of a mentor figure than Jaylen Brown and Jason
Right.
Tatum
Yeah.
to model your game after.
Yeah.
And like honestly, Walsh kind of can do everything Brown and Tatum do. Like
Right.
he's kind of a little bit of a combination. He's probably like kind of a skill set closer to Tatum, maybe.
Mhm.
But like, I mean, I don't know. The sky's the limit for him, honestly.
Right.
And I will be very excited to see if he actually gets a legitimate role.
I think he's the player to circle and highlight. We're bringing that back, the highlighting, for the season. It's like this is probably the most intriguing guy the C's have. So it's gonna be a lot of fun to see what they do with Walsh and how they use him. Now, this is, I feel like, the topic that everyone is interested in and everyone wants to talk about in the Celtics community in the world right now. It's Lonnie Walker, man.
Oh
What is
gosh.
gonna happen with Lonnie Walker? Because I'll tell you what, we know Brad Stevens, we know his tendencies. There was a report that came out from Bobby Manning from CLNS Media. Shout out Bobby Manning, kind of saying that, Boston it's not looking likely they bring in Lonnie because they don't want to pay that $10 million tax. But there is a way where they can bring him in and avoid that tax, as if they move Springer and all this stuff. So, what do you think the Celtics do with Lonnie Walker, Ian?
Yeah, so like I wrote an article for this on Celtics blog, kind of going over everything. And the main thing with Lonnie Walker is it will be an $11 million price tag for him because
Right.
the Celtics are so far over the salary cap and they have to pay a lot in taxes. So if they sign Lonnie Walker to a veteran minimum contract for around $2 million, they have to pay $8.8 million in taxes because they're so far over the cap. So
Right.
it'll be $11 million to bring in Lonnie Walker. So it's just kind of something that Brad Stevens and the ownership are going to have to think about, because we've seen ownership's thoughts recently on how much money they've been spending, and they don't seem very keen on it at the moment.
Yeah. Right. Tell me
And
about it.
so, like, is it really worth bringing an $11 million guy who, he might have some flashes here and there, but essentially, he's going to play the Svi Mihailuk role where he's kind of just going to come in garbage time, or sometimes if somebody's injured he'll get a chance to play. But I don't know, it kind of just up to them at this point if they think it's worth it. Personally, I like him. I think you have a more established guy like Lonnie Walker, you can wait for Jaden Springer to develop if you want to, but if you want a guy who can play right now, you have a legitimate NBA role player who's been in the league for the last few years. He's played, he's had big moments for playoff teams over the last few years. So I think it's gonna can only help you if you bring him in. So
If you're Boston, there's a couple questions you have to ask yourself and answer. The first one is, if he is on this roster, is he going to get playing time? Right? Because if the answer to that's no, I agree with you. I don't know if it's worth it to bring in a guy that's you're paying 11 million, or not, you're even paying $11 million. You're just getting hit with tax of $11 million, right? For him to play the Shri Mihailuk role. How necessary is that? The next question for me is, you know, how do I put this? It's like, it's like, do you want to ruin, and not ruin, but like, when putting him in the lineup, are you going to mess anything up? I guess is how I should word that.
yeah, true. I don't know. That's the thing, because like we didn't see a whole lot of Jaden Springer at all during this preseason, which was a little bit concerning because I kind of thought Jaden Springer had a chance to be a breakout player this season, at least defensively, with defensive potential. And they
Right.
didn't play him at all. So I don't really know what that means. Or, and they played Lonnie Walker a lot, but they didn't play a
Yeah.
whole lot of Jaden Springer. Uh I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, because I think they believe in Springer a lot. I don't think they would have traded for him if they didn't. So, you know, do you kind of move on from him, or does he play time in the G League this year? I mean, you can also sign Lonnie Walker anyway if you want to, and
Right.
like try to shed salary at the trade deadline if you want to, but
Right.
I don't know, it's risky.
Well,
So,
it's also like, because Brad loves that last roster spot open, right? So it's like,
yeah, he
if they
does.
are going to
It
keep it
saves money
open,
too.
right? It does. But like, if they keep it open, right, for some flexibility, you're so far in the tax and so handicapped in the buyout market where it's virtually like, who's going to be out there that you can get? Like, probably no one. That it's like, I
Yeah.
feel like if you're not going to get them, then you're just committing, because there's no one out there you can get, right? I think that everyone knows that. Like, if it's not Lonnie Walker, you're just going to keep it open to save money. So, I kind of, me personally, I'm so on the fence about it, because when he first came in, right, I was like, oh, I'm ecstatic on this guy, right? He's versatile, still am, right? Still have all those feelings, but I just think the reality of it is he's not gonna play the amount of minutes we think he should play. And if that's the case, I think it's only going to drive me up a wall when Lonnie Walker isn't in the game and the Celtics are losing. And quite frankly, I don't know if I want to go through that this year. So, I'm going to say my prediction, Ian, is that, they don't sign him, and they let him walk. Just from, again, it's just like a combination of a bunch of different things, but
Yeah.
it will have to wait and
Hey,
see.
we got a Luke Cornett quote. Shout out to I think it's Bobby Manning as well. Yeah, it's Bobby Manning as well. He wrote an article for Celtics blog talking about Luke Cornett believers, and he had a quote that said, the 5 years that I've been here have made it difficult to want anything else. It's an honor to be able to play in Boston and play with these guys. I can't believe it's been 5 years. Luke
Has it
Cornett's been
really been
with the
5 years?
Yeah, because they traded Daniel Tice for him back in 2021. Remember? Because it was the year that they traded for Evan Fournier. They
Oh
traded
my,
for him and Mo Wagner for Daniel Tice and
that's
Javante Green.
that's 5. Wow. So this upcoming.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
crazy.
Well, yeah, because he spent some
Anyway,
time in Maine. Yeah. Great
yeah,
quote.
he was in Maine. He got signed by the Cavs too. He got
Did he?
signed by the Cavs and the Bucks that season, and still ended up with the Celtics.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. There's nobody like Luke. I'm loving Luke. All right, so I got another question for you, because we've talked so much on the podcast this past month on, like, will the Celtics be better? Is it possible they, go for the record of what they had last year, 64 wins and all this stuff, right? But, like, I guess the challenge that's kind of sitting in front of them passing their team, or last year's team, in wins total, is you got to play like around 41 games without Kristaps, right? So through
Yeah,
those 41 games, what's a record that you're satisfied with from the Celtics? Like, what's like your almost like your halfway through the season prediction for these guys?
40-1. No, I'm
40.
playing. No, I mean, honestly, 30 wins, is that too crazy to ask for? Like, if we're thinking about breaking the record, obviously it would have to be a lot less than that. It would probably have to be like 35 to 38 wins at that point. But
Right.
honestly, it'll probably be around 30 wins by the halfway point of the season. It wouldn't surprise me if they were the number one team in the NBA again. So,
Right.
I think they're going to be on pace to win over 60 games again.
Yeah.
So if you're the Celtics, halfway through, yeah. So I guess that is around like 30, 35 wins.
I'm right there with you. 36-5 is my guess. I know that's crazy, but, like, again, I said this, was it I forget how many podcasts. It doesn't matter. I said that, like, I think they come out red hot, where they're like just rip off the
Oh
first
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
15 in a row. Watch, they'll lose the first game. But that's what I think, right? They're gonna, like, come out guns blazing, hungry, and then they drop one or two, and then so I don't I'd love I'm satisfied with anything over 30, right? If you're 30-11, that's a good place to be. Um, I really want like 35, 36. I want them just to blaze through the league. I do. I really want it.
It feels like they can. I kind of like I always like think about like if we're being too cocky when it comes to talking about how good the Celtics are, but in a way, the championship kind of kind of can establish that credibility of being a little bit cocky about your team, because
Yeah,
who in the
that's
NBA
true.
actually can stack up with the Celtics over the course of the season?
Right.
You're gonna have the fluke games against the team like Charlotte or Detroit or something. You're gonna lose a hard fought game against one of the best teams in the league, whether it be Minnesota from last year or Oklahoma City or something like that. Like,
Right.
that's gonna happen throughout the year. But if we're really thinking about it, how many nights is there going to be another team better than the Boston Celtics on the other side of the floor? And I don't
Right.
think you can say more than like one or two,
Right.
maybe even
Right.
zero.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, not because I want to, because I feel like it's kind of like just different point of view. So you know, I tend to agree with everything you're saying, quite frankly, literally every other word. But I feel like here could be a different point of view, where it's like, if you look at the NBA, right, the past 5 champions, it kind of has felt like everyone said that same thing, where it's like, oh, like, oh, it's Jokic's league, and who's going to stop the Nuggets, and who's going to stop the Bucks, and who's going to stop the less so with the Warriors, right? Who's going to stop the Lakers? But um, I think that they have to like prove it, not to me, but to everyone else, because they got nothing more to prove.
Yeah.
I know what they're gonna do, right? We both do. Celtics fans know, but I guess my point here is like, I just want the Celtics to be careful, and I think they will be, because like Denver had like a lot of the same stuff, where it's like, who can beat Denver, and Denver ended up beating themselves. So you still, if you don't, you can still catch yourself slipped
Yeah.
for a series. But I agree, man. Like
Yeah, but like those teams also lost pieces from their championship
Ex-
run.
Right. That's the great point because that's the difference.
Like it wasn't just, like the Nuggets lost Bruce Brown after they won the championship. Let's see, who didn't I can't
And
remember who
Jeff Green,
Milwaukee
right? Didn't they?
lost.
Did they lose
Yeah,
Jeff
they
Green?
lost Jeff Green.
Right.
I think Milwaukee lost what, DiVincenzo and somebody else off of that team. And no, they lost PJ Tucker. The
Yeah.
Bucks lost PJ Tucker and DiVincenzo, who were big pieces for them. They lost. I mean, the Lakers, kind of changed their roster entirely after they won the championship because they traded for Westbrook. The
Warriors
Warriors,
lost Gary
the
Payton.
Warriors lost Gary Payton and
Yeah.
every one of their other role players that kind of helped them play defense against the Celtics either retired or just kind of aged out. So
Yeah.
the Celtics are the first team of this decade, in my opinion, who have a chance to consistently be great because they have all their players from their championship run. They have all their core players.
And on top of that, right, their two best players we might not have even seen their best ball yet, right? Which is like kind of
Exactly.
crazy.
Exactly. It's insane. Like
Right.
that's what it comes to in my thinking, because it's like, okay, who's gonna beat them?
Right.
I don't see a legitimate team on the other side of the court in any other team in the NBA that on any given night can say they're better than the Boston Celtics. I don't see it, and the only way that I can see it is if it actually happens, if they actually beat them. Which obviously it will happen because you can't win all 82 games.
82 and 0. 82 and
82 and
0.
0. But it's like it's a legit thing though. It's like who's better than the Celtics? I don't think there's anybody better than the Celtics, and I don't think there's really many people that can even compete with them.
I mean, I so agree with you. Like you make such great points. I feel like even still like New York is like, you look at New York and you're like, oh, okay, nice, 5-6 games, I give you 6, right? And, it's just like that's like kind of like, it's just because like it feels like we're on such a different level than everyone, where it's like, no, I don't think the Jalen Brunson led New York Knicks is going to take down what the Celtics have right now.
Exactly. I
Right.
think the Nuggets could take down the Celtics in a series.
Right.
I think
From Jokic alone, just because of Joker.
Jokic alone, and like I assume, I don't know if they make it that far, Russell Westbrook is either off the team or he's become a main contributor.
Right.
And then maybe Oklahoma City, but they'll be super young going into their first NBA finals against a team like the Celtics, who are a juggernaut. So,
which do you know what
find,
do you know what that reminds me of? Like the 2012 Thunder. Right?
Exactly. Find
ironic.
find the team that has everything going for them like the Celtics do. I don't think there's another one. I really don't. Maybe Milwaukee, if Damian Lillard and Giannis can work together, and
they're just old.
Middleton won't break down and Lopez won't break down, but it's like, who's gonna be the team? That's gonna be the question.
I think the Thunder are the obvious answer, right? Out of the West. But like even still, Celtics in 5 or 6. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be really interesting, I think, to see what these guys do without Porzingis. Because we saw them do it in the playoffs, and I'm gonna expect a lot of the same things, right? Where they're just still so dominant. But it's like, I'll tell you what, if they come out in the first, however many games Porzingis is out, and they're like top of the league and Porzingis is coming back, then like I think you can, like, this point is like, even without Kristaps, they essentially won a ring without Kristaps Porzingis.
Exactly. I mean, they at least made the finals without him.
Right.
He only played 2.5 games before the finals. So, and he only played like 2 more games in the finals itself. So
it's just
he
ridiculous.
played 5 games in the entire playoff run, and the Celtics were still able to win the finals and go 16-3.
Right.
And the only center in the NBA that we had to deal with was Miles Turner. So
it's scary. It's scary hours in Boston. I mean, it really is it's going to be very fun to watch. God, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about that. That like,
It's great.
So yeah, I love it. Right, I love it. But
exactly.
Let's hop in. It's game time now. I guess this is kind of our around the hardwood topic. We had a lot of Celtics stuff to talk about. So 18 questions time. You and Justin. So Justin's not here. So unfortunately, he gets a scratch on his record. You're 1-0. I'm 0-1. If you missed last week's episode, the player was Karl Anthony Towns. Now it drew up some controversy towards the end. I got accused of switching it. I swear I didn't.
He didn't.
So tonight,
right.
today we got Ian. Ian's running the show now.
All right. You're up.
So all right, you're ready to go. Okay, so
yep.
Is this player a Boston Celtic?
He is not a Boston Celtic.
Okay. So he's not a Celtic. Let's go. Is this player in the Western Conference?
He is not in the Western Conference.
Okay, so he's not a Celtic. He's in the East. That gives me 14 teams. Is this player play? Was he on a playoff team? Is he on a playoff team?
Like, did they make the playoffs last year?
So
yes.
Is the team he's rostered for this year, did they make the playoffs last year?
Yes.
Okay, so that gives me the Bucks, the Magic, the Cavs, the Pacers.
Oh wait. Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Never mind.
Oh, now you got me second guessing myself. Does play-in count as playoffs? I guess don't answer that. Okay. So let's go by division here. So is he in the Southeast Division, which is like the Heat, the Magic?
He is in the Southeast Division.
Okay. So he's in the Southeast Division. We got the Heat. What is that? That's 4 questions. We got the Heat. We got the Magic. God, who else is in that division? That might be a problem. The Heat and the Magic. Now, I don't think anyone else from that division made the playoffs, right? Heat, Magic. Are the Hornets in that? Shit.
I honestly am bad with divisions, so.
All right. So I'm gonna guess he's either on the Heat. All right. Is this player a starter?
No, he is not a starter.
Okay, so that's 5 questions. Let's go for 6. Is this player on the Miami Heat?
He is on the Miami Heat.
Okay. So he's not a starter. 6 questions in on the Miami Heat. Let's go through here. We got Kevin Love. Ooh, Kevin Love. Okay.
Remember, like we did last time, you only get one guess to guess the player.
Right.
So.
Oh God. Okay. All right. So we got Kevin Love. Has this player played for multiple teams?
No, he is not.
Ooh, okay. That's a great question right there. I'm going to hype myself up a little bit. So he's drafted by the Heat on the bench. Oh God, you might have a crazy pull right now. All right. Let's think. So we got Hami. Is Hawkins a starter? All right. Or I'm going to say he is. So we got Nikola Jovic. That's about, I think, my knowledge on the Heat right there. Oh. All right. Was this player a rookie last year?
No.
Ah, damn it. All right. We're gonna have to get my bag here. Okay. Who else? Oh my God. No, but he's played for more than one team. DeLon Wright. He's played for more than one team. Okay, so it's not DeLon Wright. It's not Kevin Love. It's not Hami Hawkins. It's not Nikola Jovic. Although Jovic wasn't a rookie last year, was he? I think he was a sophomore.
No, I think it was the second year last year.
Okay, so
I think it was the second year.
Yeah, that sounds right. Okay, so that leaves me played on the Miami Heat for his whole career. He's on the bench. What am I at? 8 questions asked, so I have 10 more.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta the problem is that I think I could ask the question. All right, so let's go. Is this player, does he wear a number in the single digits?
Oh God, I don't know. Hang on.
That's okay. You can look it up.
Yes, he does.
Oh, okay. Player. All right. Think. I gotta think. All right. Who is wearing single digits on the Heat? Who's been drafted by the Heat? So let's go through their draft picks. Last year was Hami. Who was this year? But you. Ooh, who is this year? single digits. So it's not Hero. Does Hero? I think Hero starts these days. Single digits. All right. So this year, I don't know who they drafted. Is this player a rookie this upcoming year?
Yes, he is.
Oh, oh, okay. Shit. Who did they draft? Oh, oh no. Single digit. Oh no. Who did the Heat draft? Is this player white?
No.
Oh, oh God. Who did they draft in the first round? What's that? 12, 13 questions or 12?
You're at 12, yeah.
12 questions. He is a rookie for the Miami Heat. Was this player selected in the first round of the draft?
Let me see. Yes, he was.
He was a first rounder. Okay, thank God. Oh, come on. Think. Single digit Miami Heat player who was drafted in the first round of the NBA draft this year. This draft class was so.
What, you have 5 more? Yeah.
I have 5 more guesses, but I don't know if I don't know. Oh God. Okay. Let's see. Who are you? First round draft pick. What pick did the Heat have? They had what, 16? I feel like I'm gonna hear this guy's name and be like, oh, I know this guy. But I honestly, oh, okay. Did this player go to Gonzaga?
He did not go to Gonzaga.
Okay, so that's 14. I have 4 questions left, and I'm absolutely lost right now. Single digits. Oh God. Did this player go to Kentucky?
He did not go to Kentucky.
Oh no, I'm
3
slipping
more.
away. 3 more. Oh, come on. Oh, dang. I just gotta. Who did they pick? Was this player drafted? I mean, that's not gonna help me is the problem. Oh. Does this player's name start with an T?
It does not start with a T.
God.
2 more.
Oh, I just need a name. Is this player a forward?
Let's see. No.
Not forward. Last
question.
Oh God. Oh no. Is this player a center?
He is a center.
Okay, so he's a center on the Miami Heat who was drafted this year. He wears single digits.
This is it. You have to guess the player now.
Oh, I don't know, man. Who could you be? I mean, I genuinely don't think I know. I think I'm gonna have to take an L, but I'm gonna go. My guess. Oh God, my guess. I don't know. I don't want to put Zach Edey. That's my guess. I don't know. I know it's not right.
Incorrect. The answer was Kel'el Ware.
Oh,
First round pick out of Indiana.
Oh.
Center for the Miami Heat, 15th overall. He wears number 7. Kel'el Ware.
That was
out
a
of
good
Indiana.
Pill. That was a good pull.
That was
a good.
You
pull.
had literally everything. You had literally everything without the name. You had You had the position. You didn't have the school, but you had the position. You had the number. You had
oh my God,
the draft pick. But yeah, Kel'el Ware, center for the Miami Heat.
Oh damn! I'm 0-2 now. I'm not all right. Well, listen. Next week I'm back. Next week we're coming back onto the show, onto this podcast, and I'm getting it right.
That was a good pull.
That was
good
that was a
poll.
great poll. That was a great, better than Carl Anthony Towns.
I don't even know why he came up to the top of the mind. But when you asked me to think of a name, I don't know why he came. Like he was the first name I thought of. Yeah. I don't know why, but
killer. Great poll. Great episode. It was a fun one. Guys, if you're not already following us on social media, go do that. All the links are down below. This is what, podcast 8 in a row, 7 in a row. We're on a hot streak right now. I mean, God, having a great time doing it. Shout out to, who's the guy on Twitter? I'm sorry, I forgot his name. Shout out to I gotta find it. I gotta give him a shout out though. It's only right.
Yeah, I don't think it was the ranking. Oh, it was Chris Mahoney.
Chris Mahoney, yes, Mahoney, for the recognition over there. We appreciate that. For all our listeners, we do appreciate the support you guys give us. Guys, next time we talk, the regular season will be underway. Again, this one dropped a little bit later in the week because of the game on Tuesday. Next week, we kind of have the same problem, so we'll keep you updated on social media. But I'm Rob. That is my man, Ian, guys. It was a great episode, and you guys know the drill, man. Until next time, go Seas.